at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood. Wesley at Nicholson, welcome to the Tuesday edition, Live and Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Max Gotro has the day off. Andy Isco with us today. Also, we do first class, second class, and no class today. And the Super Regionals are now set for this coming weekend. We've got the schedule that was just released within the last hour, and of course the games that finished yesterday that wrapped up the regional weekend. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We had a lot of different stuff yesterday in the game sevens and one game six. We had some close games. We had some walk-offs. We had some blowouts, and it started right after we. I don't think we had put our headsets on the table yet yesterday when St. John's hit the grand slam. We just barely finished the show to put them up in that game against Florida State, and Florida State would have had to beat them twice. They got the lead out to 5-2. They kept it. They kept it there until the ninth. Florida State got I think Florida State got a run in the eighth, and then a home run in the ninth to cut it to 1. But they could not get that last run, and the Johnnies become one of the more unlikely advancers to a super regional yesterday. Florida State got 2 in the ninth. That's what it was, but could not get that last run, and the Johnnies get home. Oklahoma pulls a big upset. Georgia Tech, who looked like an absolute wrecking machine. The Ramblin' Wreck was so good for most of really all of the regular season, and they had kind of handled things in the first 2 games of the regional pretty easy, and then they got to Sunday and they ran in that buzzsaw. And yesterday, Oklahoma was down 7-3, going to the 7th inning. You figured Georgia Tech's in the driver's seat there, and they were, but they could not hold that lead. And Oklahoma came back and won it in extras.
Well, the story was that Oklahoma, the Georgia Tech starter had nothing. Okay, so they
brought him back from Friday.
He fell behind 3-0, and in the first inning, and then they brought in Patel, the guy, change up heavy guy, and he was phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, it was like 16 of 18 retired. I mean, and then finally he got to about 100 pitches, and that's when they built that 7-3 lead. So Patel gave them more than enough. You just need a little something from somebody. And Oklahoma just chipped away. They just chipped away and were there. And, now they hit into double play. They got a couple of frames, so you got the box going in front of you. I think they got a couple of goose eggs on like the 7th and 8th out of their pitching, Oklahoma, to kind of keep them close, because Georgia Tech, this is a team that scores 15 runs like half their postseason games, whether it's the ACC tournament or the regional.
The guy that, and this happens every year, but you got to have somebody step up. If you're going to come through the losers bracket, you're going to need somebody to do something pitching-wise, almost always, that they haven't done for the season. And Oklahoma brings this kid Cleveland out of the bullpen for the last 3 innings. His ERA for the season is over 6. And he throws 3 2/3 innings of shutout baseball, did not allow a hit, only allowed 1 base runner, to one of the best offenses in the country. And that's if you're going to come out of the losers bracket, it's going to none of these pitching staffs are equipped to handle 5 games in 4 days. They're just you don't have enough roster spots to have premium pitching. Okay, for that much. So somebody's going to come from out of the bullpen and has got to give you a well above what their stat line tells you performance. And Oklahoma got that yesterday.
But Georgia Tech got more of it, Charlie. And that's why it's no reason. Patel gave them. I mean, he was unhittable for a way longer stretch.
Oh, he went 7
So I mean, they got that. They it's not like they didn't get that. They did. They just needed somebody to give them a couple of innings, and they couldn't do it at the start of the game and in the bookend the game. To protect the lead, and then little karma. The big first baseman who had 3 home runs, who eventually hit the walk-off. He fouls one right off his midsection, and he goes down. He's got this little double chain. He's like biting one of it, and like, oh, we've all had this happen in baseball. And they show the first base for Georgia Tech, and he's laughing. And they're like, man, don't laugh.
No,
this is the broadcaster said that.
Yeah.
Don't laugh. And he was laughing. Like, well, sure enough, my man came back and hits the walk-off into the – man, to get over that batter's eye.
Straight away center field.
That's a yank, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ball probably went 440, 450 feet to clear that wall in center. So Oklahoma, I'll be honest with you, Jimmy, I got to give them a lot of credit and give Skip Johnson a lot of credit. I thought this team was a little overrated most of the season. Thought that, they never really solved their front line, their Friday night pitching. They, kind of knocked that around a little bit. They were inconsistent offensively. They did not finish the season strong at all. They lost their last 4 series. I did not think that they were long for the world, and especially in that regional. And I guess it just goes to show you that, in baseball, man, look, you can say, well, this team's playing really well and this team's not, and it can turn. And it did. I was very surprised that Oklahoma went in there and did what they did.
Well, that's the thing of it, Charles. There's way more surprise than there used to be. There's way more. It's. I mean, on these Monday games, I mean, you might have one upset. You're not having St. John's, Oklahoma, USC all on the same night.
No,
it just doesn't happen. And Troy, I mean, that's just unheard of.
You got 4s and 3s all over the super regional amount.
All 6 games went under yesterday,
and that was a huge surprise.
I gave 3 of my 5 otter locks. Thank goodness the other 2 were 3 overs. Well, they didn't come. They didn't hit. Only one was close.
And you would figure that with these compromised pitching staffs, that some of these games would have gone over. I had somebody who hit me up on X yesterday about, that watches the Sports Bettor's Paradise. Said, what do you think about the afternoon games? I said, well, go ahead and take an over if you got one, because, hey, everybody is down to the bottom of their pitching staff, and that did not happen.
No, not close.
All 6 of them. Florida, I don't really know what to say. Sully had set everything up about as well as you can do it. Hold your first 2 pitchers, come back in the game on Friday night, put yourself in a position to win the regional with your best guys out there, and even after you don't get what you would expect out of King and Peterson, you get to Monday with a chance, and all you got to do is go out there and outslug Troy in your home stadium, which was empty, by the way. They didn't even come close. I mean, they
weren't empty. Huh? I mean, it wasn't empty.
No, I mean not empty, but it was nowhere less than half from the shots I saw.
Yeah.
It's a Monday afternoon. I get it. People got to work. I can't tell you that Alec Box on Monday would have been capacity.
Oh, it would have been.
There'd have been a lot of people. There'd have been a lot of people.
Like Texas Tech, you had like one little patch. It looked like maybe like the visiting team had left. That little patch of parents or something. That was about it. Most of West Virginia, I mean, they're not worried about school yesterday.
No.
But I mean, Florida, they just spent a lot of money on their stadium. It's the most expensive stadium in college baseball now. They have had more support, but they've always lacked, some. I mean, it's kind of like Miami as well. But it was way emptier than most, but it was not empty. And the thing about it was that but Charlie, we said this yesterday about them. They blew it in the first game. When you got a guy with so much experience in Lynn Peterson, we have talked about him. I think you have spoke favorably based on his past.
Yeah.
When his form this year, he hasn't been what he's been.
Faded for sure.
He has not had the he had a better season last year than this year. That's not normally the case, but it is for him. But you felt on that, that's when they blew it. Because yesterday we're talking about, like, man, they got through some shaky pitching today. You think they've been slugging it. Wait a minute. They're going to go into the Hoover Met, where that pitching-friendly park, and run rule people, good pitching, and they can't hit down the line, worn-out pitching for Troy?
Not even close.
Then they hit some shots at the warning track, but, kind of like some long outs. But, no, the run production, the hit production, they didn't have nearly as much traffic as they should have.
Great game in West Virginia. That was a great series. That was a great regional all the way around. It felt like Kentucky, West Virginia, and Wake Forest played about 8 games apiece. And look, Kentucky had an opportunity on Sunday night, the 3-run lead, a 9-6 lead. They had a big comeback yesterday. They were down 4. They get 4 runs in the 8th inning to tie it, but they can't. They can't hold a lead. And we talk about the compromised pitching. They brought Jackson Jelkin back, their ace, who had thrown, I think, 95 pitches the other night. They brought him back for 52 more. He kind of slogged through 2 or 3 innings, but he gave up the 3 runs. Whereas West Virginia, Max Yeel, who was the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, left the first game, which was the marble game on Saturday, with a little bit of discomfort. He threw 2/3 of an inning. Well, he came back and gave him 5 strong. So it wasn't exactly by design that they had Eel available to him yesterday, but it sure did work out for him because they didn't have to lean on the bullpen nearly as hard as Kentucky did. And then they get the run in the bottom half of the 10th inning to move on. West Virginia. I enjoyed that serise.
It was a highlighted series. I mean, there's no doubt it was back and forth. In Kentucky, they're down 3 runs. They get the 2-run home where they're kind of, okay, they're close. The very next guy hits back-to-back to put them on top. They go to, and Mingione is a guy that will aggravate you. Because he takes gamesmanship, but he just knows how to manage a game. This is not a great team. It's pretty average. This is not an upper half SEC team. Not close. Not really close to being an upper half team. But they
lost 8 out of 10 series in SEC play.
And remember in that game at Florida, that was a tough luck loss for them. Really, I think they were like 6-1 in the 8th. And they wound up losing it. It's just, he's Skip Johnson from Oklahoma and Mingione for Kentucky. They just know how to manage games, Charlie. It reminds me a little bit of another Mingione's kind of like what the USC coach that won a title or 2 and then went to Irvine.
Gillespie.
Robert
Gillespie.
I mean, it's just, Garrido. I mean, that just, they give their teams a chance. If they got a close to the talent, close to the pitching and hitting that day, they're going to be around, man. And that's why they were hard. And, heck, man, Florida, I'm drawing a blank who played Oklahoma again. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, they hung around.
Yesterday I was discombobulated.
Yes,
Today it's you. Okay.
You play enough close ones, you're going to lose them. But they hadn't been in a lot of close games, too. And, that's – of all of them, that's by far the biggest shocker. I mean, Florida had been hot, but still, Florida has not had the season Georgia Tech has.
No way.
Georgia Tech has just crushed people. And like North Carolina, the final in that ACC tournament, North Carolina's the favorite to win it all now. The odds for them, they're the favorite to win it right now. They couldn't compete with Georgia Tech in the final. We're not competitive.
No, that Sunday game got away from them in a hurry.
They're just superior.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just
over 56 games. Georgia Tech was way better.
But know what's missing from their resume? When's the last time they've been to Omaha?
Georgia Tech. Oof.
It's been 20 years.
Has it been? Yeah.
That's a program that is a first-year coach. He's got a little put a little bit of energy back in it, but they hadn't been there in 20 years.
The 2 late games, Auburn finally put away a pesky Milwaukee team. Tell you what, you could have won a lot of money if you'd have told me when they left here that Milwaukee was going to make it to the final day. of the regionals after LSU swept them in the first weekend of the season. They look like a very just ordinary run-of-the-mill snowbird type of team, but give them credit. They really put together some good baseball to get themselves into the final. Marciano comes back for Auburn, their ace, who had only thrown 29 pitches on Friday night. He gives them 4 solid innings, 63 pitches, and Jackson Sanders mopped up for them. Auburn also, I think, is the number 2 choice right now. We're going to do super regional odds here in a second. But they take care of Milwaukee. And then A&M.
Auburn, it's fallen good. It's fallen favorably for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And USC.
So now they get St. John's. I'm sorry, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
They get Ole Miss.
Regular
Ole Miss.
SEC series, huh?
Yeah.
USC did it the hard way. They held their ace in the opener and lost. So they had to bring him back on Saturday. They had to fight back through the losers bracket. Texas A&M, who has had a problem with their frontline pitching all season, again, not able to hold them down in the game yesterday or 2 days ago or yesterday. Southern Cal scores 14 in the game on Sunday and 7 yesterday. I was surprised that A&M offense was held down because even though they have not had a Friday night guy they could really count on, that offense was legit. And USC playing game 5 in 4 days held on to 1 run on 6 hits with the regional title on the line in College Station.
The one common thing that I saw in Gainesville with Florida's approach at the plate and College Station at A&M's approach to the plate, when they were down big runs, there's a lot of guys trying to hit 3-run homers with the bases empty.
Overswinging, yeah.
And there were a lot of long outs, but that was just instead of grinding and getting guys on base first, there was a lot of heavy swings with the bases empty. And you saw a lot of balls hit to the track in both of those places.
We got the super regional.
They did 6 hits?
6 hits, yes.
And then it's 6 hits and 7 hits between Florida and A&M.
At home on the last day of the regional.
13 hits combined. Their individual run total was probably closer to 20.
After what happened on Sunday, I was shocked that there was not more offense yesterday.
So why? Why is it more parity? Why do we get to this point? Maybe some of the northern schools have warmed up and they are better than what they are early in the season. I think that's fair because they're geographically challenged. In Milwaukee, they never took a ball outside until they got here.
Yeah,
that's part of. But what are the basketball schools doing that the baseball schools aren't? I'm gonna chalk.
I think the pressure barrier yesterday for a couple of these teams with knowing everything's on the line. But overall, Jimmy, I'm not sure that a lot of this isn't. It's just baseball. Georgia Tech was great for 60 games and lousy for 2. UCLA was great for 60 games against that competition. I'll hear a strength of schedule argument, but they were fine. Florida was terrific for the whole back half of the season, but they were lousy for 2 games. And we can go on with some of the other teams. When we get to first, second, no, I'll tell you just how off we were. And when I say we, I'm talking about everybody that covers college baseball in what we thought in the preseason and what happened actually on the field. But it wasn't like the Milwaukees and St. John's of the world were upsetting SEC and ACC teams all through the season. They got them for a couple of days. Maybe I'm oversimplifying. I don't know.
That baseball certainly lends itself to you can hit line drives right at people. You can have some balls. You can have a little bit of baseball fortune. I get it. That's why they play 162 and still first place to last place is like 600 and 5 games over 500 and 5 games under 500 sometimes. Okay, I get it. But this baseball was still baseball 10 years ago. When the favorites were dominating, you didn't have this, Charlie.
No, you have more parity. I'm certainly not going to argue that the results are overwhelming.
Oh, we're overdue for our first break. We're live over here at Mike Anderson's again every Tuesday. It is our oyster night. It's been that way for many, many years. Starting at 5 p.m., we close during the week from Monday through Thursday from 2 to 5 p.m. to give our staff a break and to have a little break there. And so between the lunch and dinner shift, but my buddy Mr. Shane gets behind the bar and does his thing, man. He cranks up the music, and it makes it a festive atmosphere over here. All oysters on a half shell every Tuesday are half price over here at Mike Anderson's. Now, the Char Grill is blowing and glowing. So, man, we've been doing shows since they reopened after the fire in the Char Grill, and the Char Grills have been a big, big hit. Whenever I have somebody up from out of town, I make sure to take them over here to Mike Anderson's. Love those big chunks of fresh garlic in their marinade that they put on the char-grilled oysters. So, I mean, Michael Pearl Jr. is shucking behind the bar, man, does a great job over here. So, it's a festive atmosphere over here on Tuesdays. So come by and see us. If for lunch, got great lunch specials, including a Cajun plate, which is a little taste of everything, a little small portion of crawfish etouffee, seafood gumbo, you got fried shrimp, catfish, you got a salad or coleslaw, a hush puppy. It's all for $11.95. Good stuff over here at Mike Anderson's.
Live at Mike Anderson's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. And it is brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers, go to SupremeRice.com. So we've got the Super Regional pairings and odds out for the game starting this Friday. Jimmy, let's go.
No, not the games.
The series. I'm sorry.
You got the World Series future odds, and then you have the Super Regional
odds. Yes, for not for game.
I've only seen one game odds posted right now, and that is Georgia and Mississippi State. And Georgia is minus 145. Mississippi State is even money. So they're a slightest a favorite in Mississippi State. Bombs away in Athens with those two teams. We talked about that possible ring. That's one where form held. That's one where form held. It's usually, we talked about 67% of the host sites advance past the regional. So that's roughly, 11. So this time it was only 7 of them advanced. 7 of the 11. So 7 of 16. 7 were upset, Charlie. I'll get it straight.
Georgia will be without Trey Phelps in that game, one of their top hitters.
There you go.
In Game 1 against Mississippi State.
All right, here's a College World Series odds. North Carolina is the favorite at plus 373.80. These are the DraftKings odds from our friends at the Queens and also Bally's. Carolina, the favorite, slight favorite over Texas, was 4-1. They brought out the bats this weekend.
Yeah.
That was they were smashing the ball.
It's going to be a great regional in Austin with them in Oregon.
With Oregon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oregon only allowed 3 runs in 3 games up in that regional.
Georgia plus 475 is third choice. That's the matchup. The first game in Omaha is a 3-6 if the if form holds. Texas and Georgia are the second and third choice. Auburn is fourth choice at plus 550. They're fourth choice with Mississippi State at 550.
First game on Friday is Cal Poly at West Virginia. They make the cross-country trip. West Virginia, I believe, is the biggest favorite in the Super Regionals.
I don't think so.
No?
That minus 370, Cal plus 225 is, I would have to think, boy, Troy is only 220 against Little Rock, huh?
Yeah.
You might be right. But 370 plus 225.
Second game, North Carolina hosting USC, who's got their travel agent working overtime right now because they didn't finish until late last night. That's a 2 o'clock game on Friday.
North Carolina to win their Super Regional minus 265, Southern Cal plus 170.
Third game is Little Rock and Troy. One of these teams is going to punch their ticket to Omaha. It's a 4 o'clock game at Troy. Didn't figure they'd be hosting a Super Regional, huh? That's 4 o'clock start on Friday afternoon.
It's a good program. Southern Miss is kicking themselves. They were better than Troy all season long. Also, even it required a walk-off grand slam in their conference tournament. But, yeah, Troy, I think this is a little light, minus 220 against in Little Rock, plus 145.
Fourth game on Friday, Ole Miss and Auburn. good old-fashioned Southeastern Conference series. These teams did not play in the regular season. The Auburn Super Regional starts at 7 o'clock on Friday.
Auburn minus 205, Ole Miss plus 135.
The games that the Super Regionals that will start on Saturday, the first game 10 a.m. our time on Saturday morning, Mississippi State and Georgia. We just gave you the odds for the first game, but Georgia's also the favorite, obviously, in this series at home.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the odds on that.
On that series. Okay,
no.
Let's move on. Oklahoma and Kansas will start their Super Regional at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Kansas, a slight favorite in this series.
It's already jumped, and I think in the right way. I looked an hour ago. It was a pick 'em. It's now Kansas minus 165.
Yeah.
That's Kansas should be the favorite.
We were prepping for our Sports Bettor's Paradise podcast that we're going to drop this afternoon, this morning, and I really liked my number on Kansas. I don't guess I'm going to get that when we drop it.
No, I mean, but it was just an hour ago.
Yeah, right, I know.
Yes, that's straight pick 'em.
Oregon and Texas, which I think is potentially the best matchup out of all the Super Regionals. Their game one is on Saturday at 7 o'clock.
Texas healthy favorite here, minus 265. Oregon plus 170.
I may take a little Oregon. That's a good club. It's a hell of a pitching staff they got to face in Austin, but that's a really good team. And St. John's in Alabama is the last Super Regional to start, not until 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
I was thinking of the wrong SEC team from Alabama that it's fallen their way. I was thinking Auburn, but it's more Alabama. I mean, they win the regional. They avoid Florida State. If they advance past St. John's, it was a 4 seed. I mean, if they can have their pick, they play them. And who do they avoid if they go to Omaha in the first game? Georgia Tech's going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is I thought the weakest of the 8 national seeds, and they are getting the easiest path to this point. Alabama's minus 315. The Red Storm coming back plus 195. I think that one moved as well a little bit up from what it was earlier.
That's the LSU time slot, the primetime Saturday night game. That'll be in Tuscaloosa on ESPN2, and all the games will be either on ESPN or on the Deuce this weekend, except for Friday night. I think there's one on ESPNU, but you won't have to deal with ESPN Plus on any of these, which had a few issues over the weekend, but look, great coverage overall from ESPN.
One thing I got to get past on the squeeze play. It's like, you're good, man. Relax. Quit patting yourself on the back all the time. And look at that watching us. They should be watching you. They watch us they put us up on the big. Dude, don't act so small time. I mean, like just to do it. Your content is really good. Yeah. I mean,
we've come so far. I mean, when you couldn't see any games on television.
I know, but a lot of freezing up on ESPN Plus. Constantly, every 5 minutes going back and forth, because I had everything maximized on my in my media room, so I had things all over the place. I've got 7 different TVs, but still, much. Just do your job. It's okay. We think you're really great too. Just enough of it. I mean, it's like I'm watching Stuart Smalley with Michael Jordan on Saturday Night Live. I'm worth a damn. That self-help crap. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive at Segan Lane, 8445 Segan Lane, right across the street from Ambrosia Bakery. It's the only place I take my vehicle. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Jason Payne's going to give you a fair shake. That's all we ask for. We've heard those horror stories of just being upcharged to ridiculous prices for basic services that we should have a reference point in kind of an estimated charge for it. But when something is seriously failing with your vehicle, he's going to let you know as well. I need to go take my oil light came on today. Got to take it over there and get an oil change. You see when Jason's it's the most convenient to bring it in. And when you bring it in, if it's not if they're backed up at that time, we'll set up a more convenient time for you and for them to get you in and out as efficiently as possible. The only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive with Jason Payne, 8445 Segan Lane, near Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. I hope you are as well.
Yes, indeed. So, what are you thinking, man? But Adam Silver, the NBA, I mean, they win. They get the number one media market. They got a great, I mean, there's a lot of history there, or lack thereof, you know, with this team running. They got the historical aspect of it. I mean, you know, it's a weak field in the East, but you can't beat the opposition. They're making these Eastern Conference playoff from teams from the Eastern Conference playoff teams look like Big West challengers in the 90s for the UNLV running Rebels. I mean, this is unbelievable what they've been doing. And then you got the new star. I kind of shy away from that term, face of the league sort of thing, but he is about to take the baton from LeBron and Wembanyama. So, and they slayed the dragon, and the defending world champions and the favorite to win it all. So, the matchup has a lot of juice. There's no doubt. You think we'll get a deep series?
I do, and I give the Knicks a chance. They played well. Well, let me give you a little bit. Again, I like to look at the numbers of how these teams have played over the latter part of the season, and the Knicks have been absolutely spectacular. Now, in the playoffs, the Knicks are 6-1 straight up, and against the spread at home. 5-2 straight up, 6-1 against the spread on the road. Spurs are 6-3 straight up and against the spread, both at home and on the road. So those are excellent performances for teams that make the finals. Now, the Knicks, since March 11th, so we're talking a month before the end of the regular season, up through the playoffs, they are 24-6 straight up, 19-11 against the spread. Obviously, excellent straight up, both at home and on the road. Their one weakness, if you want to call it that, against the spread, they're 11-4 at home, 8-7 against the spread. So even though they're 11-4 straight up, obviously it means that they won a lot of games on the road, or at least 3 games on the road that they did not cover. So and even if you go back further, since January 21st, so we're talking almost 3 months, the final 3 months of the regular season on the playoffs, 40-13 straight up, 34-19 against the spread. Now, obviously, a good part of it was the Eastern Conference teams they faced in the playoffs, but then you also take a look at some of the other teams that they would have faced in those final 3 months of the season. The point is that the Knicks have been playing excellent basketball basically since the third week of 2026, and I think that surprises a lot of people. It certainly surprised me that their, let's call it, the excellence has extended as far back as it has.
Heard it. There's a lot of conversation. Obviously, the Knicks have taken the city by storm. Okay, there's a lot of excitement right at the start of the summer period. The weather's warmer; they can get out into the streets when they're not regulated. So they've kind of got some restrictions on their celebrations and their watch parties. But still, it's dominating the number one media market in the conversation. I heard a host yesterday saying, "I thought that the Knicks' best matchup would be the Spurs." But in hindsight, I don't, because without a couple of key players, and if you get re-aggravated that hamstring, which Williams did for the Thunder, he's going to be out. He would have been out for a while. And for San Antonio to go into Oklahoma City and beat them twice, 2 out of 4 games at their place, man, that's pretty strong. And now they are healthier than what they were earlier with Fox and with Harper and some others. Your thought from the Knicks' perspective, is this a little tougher matchup than maybe the banged-up Thunder would have been?
Possibly, but, they're both going in there, especially San Antonio, obviously coming out of the better conference, with relative inexperience. The Knicks at least have played the last few years by progressing to the point where they lost the conference finals last year and took the next step this year, whereas San Antonio, they were not expected to do as much as they did this year, although obviously Wemby has been the foundation for a couple of years of a team that certainly certainly appeared to be on the rise. Now, if you go back and you take a look at OKC and San Antonio, San Antonio, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4 straight up against Oklahoma City throughout the regular season and the playoffs. So San Antonio's beating Oklahoma City, while an upset, really can't be considered all that much of a surprise because of the fact that, you go back now. Remember, these teams did not meet before the middle of December. So it's not like a lot of those or any of those San Antonio wins came back in October and November. It was December 13th, the first time that those two teams faced each other. And for San Antonio to have that kind of success suggests that it is not, or it should not be, that much of a surprise that they were able to go into Oklahoma City and win Game 7. Although, to be honest, I was on Oklahoma City in Game 7. Got off it during the course of the game, but going into the game, I was on OKC laying. What was it? I think I brought it down to 3. Again, defending champs playing at home. That's what you play for. But I've had total respect for San Antonio really throughout the entire season, and my respect for the Knicks has come really throughout the latter part of the season, probably around the All-Star break. I said, you know what, the Knicks have a shot in this Eastern Conference because Boston, we didn't know when Tatum was coming back, and of course he played well, but the Knicks had showed signs, and I think I've mentioned it over the last month and a half or so, when Mike Brown made that change and ran more of the offense through Towns. The Knicks started to really play. I mean, and they've been winning, and they're still going up against NBA playoff teams, and for them to win the number of games they did by such huge margins is really an indication of a team that is playing with confidence and focus.
One of those games in the regular season was the finals of the NBA Cup, right in your backyard in Las Vegas. Wembanyama did not start that game. He played a limited 18 minutes. Another guy who didn't start at that time was Harper, who played 28 minutes. But that was part of it. Wemby averaged right at 29, 30 minutes for the season during the regular season. But it's funny. I sure didn't give that much of a chance and for them to be. The Knicks are getting a lot of support. They are a public dog. The look-ahead line for the series, San Antonio is minus 250. It's down to minus 190. As far as the game 1 goes for tomorrow night, that is at 4.5. That is what it opened. It teetered back and forth a little bit to between 4 and 5. Back and forth it's late at 4.5. But the money line, high 50% for the Knicks. Mid 50% on the spread for the Knicks, and the over at 67% are the Knicks. So the Knicks are a public dog here, both for the series and for Game 1.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm expecting the Knicks to cover, maybe even win, one of the 2 games in San Antonio. Now, I'm not quite sure which one it will be because they're playing. Both teams are playing with rest. With San Antonio having what was on Saturday, I believe, or Friday or Saturday, I think it was, or maybe it was Sunday. All these days wind together now. But they're playing with extra rest, but the Knicks are playing with even extra rest, and that might be a little bit too much. And much like I thought in one of the other series, that the Knicks, that one team would show up. And maybe it was the OKC San Antonio series. I don't recall. I think maybe that was it, where one team had a lot of extra rest, and that they would be a little bit shaky in the first part of the game. Maybe it was the Eastern Conference, whatever it was. But in any event, it was shaky in the first half, and then they caught their legs, and the other team got fatigued because they were playing like 2 or 3 days later in the fourth quarter. And I could see something like that here. The game is on the road, so the Knicks are expected to lose. Might be an opportunity once again to play in game. But my normal strategy is when I've got what I expect to be a relatively competitive series, and where I like both teams rather than, well, I like this team and not crazy about the other. I like both of these teams here. I would normally play, and I see that the line, which has been as high as 5, is now down to 4.5 in most places for Game 1. I'm likely, if I'm going to make a pregame play in Game 1, it would be on the Knicks hopefully that's the game that they cover, and I come back with San Antonio in Game 2. It might be the reverse. If I lose Game 1, I may have to come back with the Knicks in Game 2 or try to find something to do with the totals. The games that these teams played. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you on that logic, Andy. As far as we all saw the last time this team was on a 9-day layoff, and it was we debate rest versus rust in different situations. Sure, the Knicks are going to try and readdress their routine, rearrange to try and avoid that.
But we still saw
it. Yeah,
it was a series against Cleveland that Game 1. Yeah.
Right. The first 40 minutes against Cleveland, they're down 22, and when they they covered all 4 of those games. And one thing is, they are a covering machine, and we've seen the guy at BetMGM who's laddering for like 100,000, 5 different ladder bets and stuff like that, just killing them and stuff, just wearing them out. I mean, there's a big chunk of people just been betting the Knicks, and they are not going to stop anytime soon. I know if I was on them from jump, I'd be doing the same.
Yeah, well, like I said, since January 21st, 34-19 against the spread. Plus 11 games over 500 at home and plus 4 on the road. So they've been able to play extremely well. And again, there are some Western Conference teams in there in those final 3 months of the regular season. So it's not as though they've been beating up on teams like the Indianas or the Washingtons to get a lot of that streak.
So you get the Spurs in Game 1. Give us some picks.
Oh, I'm going to go with the Knicks in Game 1.
Okay. Oh, you're going with the Knicks in Game 1. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Like I said, I like when I've got what I can believe to be a competitive series, and I like both teams. I look for a split in the first 2 games, and I'll usually play the underdog in Game 1. Hopefully, I'll get the win there. And if I lose, I may come back with them in Game 2 or try to find a way for the total. Or if I'm successful in Game 1, I may very well go with the Spurs in Game 2 for them to avoid going. Especially if they win Game 1, not just cover the Knicks. If they win Game 1 and come back and go for the Spurs in Game 2 to avoid going down 0-2 on the road.
The zigzag, and you'll be playing a little bit more of a premium price there.
But it's not necessarily a zigzag, even though it fundamentally works that way. It's depending upon the what creates the zigzag. So sometimes I won't play it, even though it might be going back and forth between teams, but it won't be because it's a zigzag.
Quickly, the Vegas, the Golden Knights, they start tonight. The local team, the Towns, pretty excited about their only original professional team.
Oh, absolutely. 3rd time in their 9 years of existence going to the Stanley Cup Finals. 2nd time in 4 years. They won it in 2023. I like their chances. They played extremely well over the latter part of the playoffs. I think they won their first 2 series in 6, and then I think the effort against Colorado just came out of nowhere. That was very surprising. I expected that to be a long series, and to be quite honest, I expected Colorado to win. I didn't bet them because the price was just a little prohibitive, but I am on the Golden Knights to win the series against Carolina, who, Carolina's 12-1, and the one game they lost was, I think, that opener against Montreal. If I recall correctly, Carolina was the team that was rusty, and Montreal got off to a 3-0 quick lead and ended up winning Game 1, and then it was all Carolina. I think it'll be a lower scoring series. Hart has played very well for the Golden Knights, and of course Carolina's had great goaltending throughout the playoffs. So my approach will probably be in Game 1. To look at the under. I've already taken him at Golden Knight at plus 130 for the series.
Under in Game 1. You can follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. He's with us each and every Tuesday at this time. Good luck to you, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Catch you next week.
All right, don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, vinyl windows, storm impact windows, wood windows. You can check out all of our windows online at ReliefWindows.com. Doors, exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, different sidings, vinyl and hardy plank siding, shutters, interior, exterior shutters, and shades as well, all at Relief Windows. So the fabric roller shades is something that we're offering now over at Relief Windows. So you can do the different ones that are just manually move, or you can do the electronic ones as well. Check out all of our inventory at reliefwindows.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eastern Michigan is hiring Mike Ott as their new head coach. That's no relation, right?
You ain't got to worry about that. We ain't taking one of those graveyard jobs.
He's been at Kalamazoo the last 14 years. This other one, though, is a little bit interesting. Jacksonville State, we really like them this year.
Just baseball?
Yeah, yeah.
Did the Eastern Michigan baseball?
No, I'm done with that story. I brought
right.
that up because he got the same last name as you. I was making a joke.
So what Jacksonville State's baseball coach is getting a job?
Steve Bees. Yeah, he took the job today at Grand Canyon. That's a little bit interesting because Grand Canyon will spend a little bit of money. No?
Did you order those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right there. Grand Canyon, they spend a little bit of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
They've got
a pretty nice hire. That guy's pretty well thought of. I thought he'd be getting a bigger job.
They just moved. Bryster, they just moved to the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah.
And handled themselves pretty well. In the basketball, they have a great home crowd, but yeah, so there's some potential for growth there. That's a young, resourced program. Yes,
it's a nice hire for them. Biggest job still open right now. South Carolina, the top job on the board right now
for sure.
Hour number 2 straight ahead here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And return here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley at Nicholson, right here in the front bar, right by the oyster bar with the char-grilled oysters flaming right here on the side of us. Come on by and see us for lunch here, Wesley at Nicholson. All right, first class. I got a few here. First of all, tip of the cap to LSU golf for that monster comeback on Sunday. Couldn't quite keep it going yesterday. They missed out on the final 8, but the rally from what was at one point last place out of the 30 at the NCAA Golf Championships to get themselves further along in the 64 that was shot. Great performance by them. Atmospheres at the regionals. We had a lot of great ones. West Virginia might have been my favorite. They were maybe I just ended up watching more of that regional than anything else because they were really compelling games.
It was the best. It was the best atmosphere.
I thought it was fantastic.
They also, and all they had the most close games.
Yeah, thought it was a great atmosphere at Kansas, who had never hosted before, in Lincoln, where they haven't hosted since 2008.
It was awesome. Yes,
we saw a lot of really cool stuff. Packed parks, The thing about these baseball parks, they have what you call nooks and crannies. You got people hanging off parking garages, or behind the trees, or on berms, or whatever.
Yeah,
great weekend. I spotlighted a few.
But the thing about it, both they go back this week because things fell their way that they're hosting the Supers in Morgantown and Lawrence.
Yeah, that's right. They get them.
They were not scheduled to if form held, so they benefit. They'll take another dip.
And what do you think? Troy could not have in their wildest dreams thought that they would host a super regional this week, but here they are. Wonder what kind of crowd they're going to draw.
It's a pretty solid athletic program.
It's a very good program. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Very
we
good
get
program.
to produce Summerall. He won up a few games before he went to Tulane. Had enough success to where he's in the SEC and a really good job now in Florida. So, that baseball program is a good program. I mean, they had Southern Miss beat in that game at a 4-run lead in ninth inning before they lost. It's a good league too. It's a good league.
Yeah,
as far as baseball,
very good baseball league. I spotlight a couple of the great performances that might have gotten lost if you're spinning around and maybe on some of the SEC teams, something like that. Kansas had a couple. Tyson LeBlanc homered in all 3 games, and in the clinching game, 2 for 4 with a double and 3 RBIs. We talked about their number 1 starting pitcher, Dominic Vogel, who went into that Friday game with an ERA over 6, struck out 9 in 7 innings, 3 runs in 7 innings. Hey, look, I'll take that in a regional. So he was pretty good. And for Arkansas Little Rock, Blake Simpson went 8 for 14 in the regional. 5 runs scored, 4 RBIs, double, triple, homer. Those were some of the bigger performances that I saw from some of the outstanding players over the weekend that might not have been up from your high-profile teams.
Who did you say the most valuable player for Troy?
I did not put him in there. I probably should have because he had a monster series as well.
He had like 500 with like 4 home runs. You know what he was batting going into the postseason? Under 200.
Really?
Yeah.
That's another example. Like the guy with the ERA of 6 that threw 3 2/3 shutout innings at Georgia Tech yesterday. That's what you're looking for, a hero, somebody that just comes from out of nowhere and gives the performance of their life. We've seen it here, where guys that were little used came up with a big performance. Good with a chance to be great. This is real simple. You got 2 3 seeds and 2 4 seeds that are in super regional weekend, and we just don't see that volume. I mean, you get 1, maybe 2, 4, 3 or 4 seeds, and at least one of them's going to Omaha because Troy and Arkansas Little Rock are playing each other. But St. John's a 4 seed, Cal Poly as the 3 seed. You've had already a monumental season if you're any one of these teams to be in a super regional as a 3 or a 4 seed. If you're Troy, you get to host. So it's already been great, maybe great with a chance to be. These are the kind of teams that you put up. If Arkansas Little Rock makes the World Series, they'll talk about this team as long as they're playing baseball at Arkansas Little Rock. If Troy makes it to the World Series, they'll be talking about this. Down in Lafayette, I remember the team that made it to Omaha in 2000. That team still resonates.
Did it make only one time? Lafayette? They went to another time. It was only once?
That was just
okay. I thought they meant to a few supers.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Ole Miss went and beat them in Lafayette.
Right when they had the home field.
They were hosting super.
That team was legendary in Lafayette because they went and beat the number 1 seed South Carolina on the road that year. Tony Robichaux held his ace for Game 3. One of the gutsiest calls you ever see. They're still talking about that team. Any of these teams make it, they'll be talking about them for a long time. No class. I'm putting everybody in this boat. I don't want to pick on the guys at D1. I think the world of Kendall Rogers, Aaron Fitt, and that staff. I think they do a great job. So I'm not picking on D1 when I'm using their preseason top 25. I'm saying we were all in this boat. I'm going to kind of go through this quickly. This is the preseason top 25. Jimmy, you ready? How many teams out of the preseason top 25? Now, this is not just one random team. How many teams are still alive out of the preseason top 25 of the final 16?
Oh, it's still alive.
Still alive.
3.
5. UCLA was number 1. They're eliminated. I'm just going to go through them real quick.
Texas and Mississippi State.
Texas and Mississippi State are there. LSU was number 2, missed the tournament. Georgia Tech got eliminated. Coastal Carolina was preseason number 6. They got eliminated.
Number 6 preseason?
Preseason.
Wow.
Arkansas eliminated. Louisville was preseason number 8, missed the tournament. Auburn is still alive. They were preseason number 9. TCU was preseason number 10, missed the tournament. That's 3 preseason top 10s that did not even make the NCAA field of 64. Number 11 was North Carolina. They're in the supers. Oregon State was 12. They're eliminated. Florida was 13, out. Tennessee, 14, out. Georgia was 15. They're still in. Florida State was 16, out. NC State barely snuck into the field, eliminated. Kentucky was 18, got knocked out yesterday. Clemson was preseason number 19, missed the tournament.
Had a good showing, though.
Southern Miss, preseason top 20 in a host site, eliminated. Wake Forest at 21, Miami at 22. Vanderbilt was 23, missed the tournament. Arizona 24, missed the tournament. Texas A&M preseason number 25 got knocked out yesterday.
All of Kentucky's games, 1 run. They won in the classic, They had a walk, a stolen base, Old Stoney wild pitch with two outs.
65,
went out Wake Forest by one.
There were 2 one-run games and 2 two-run games.
There you go.
So
they
felt like
they gave you your money's worth.
Not only so, the preseason top 25 got obliterated. Both in the regular season and going in here. And the ACC, Jimmy, you and I disagree a little bit on North Carolina and how far we think their ceiling is. I think they're in a really good spot because USC playing late into the night on Monday, got to figure out all their travel. They got to go again on Friday. I think it kind of throws your routine off, and Carolina's kind of been sitting back. But on your side of the argument, the ACC went 8-16 in this tournament. All 8 teams besides North Carolina have already been eliminated. So you're talking about strength of the league and the torchbearers for them. Georgia Tech, Florida State, both host sites, both of them knocked out. Miami knocked out. They were in the Gainesville Regional. Maybe this was just a really down year in the ACC, or maybe they were overrated. I don't know, but they were 8-16 in the first weekend.
Everybody knocked out. And I've seen this North Carolina team in a position to, when they were favored, all the way even in the championship series, and not come through. So I've seen this team favored, knocked out as a favorite a lot.
No,
it's just a lot of their history. And maybe, that's and maybe that's not fair because a lot of these guys were not even close to even college when some of these postseason failures have come. But I've seen it a lot with them. The other thing, that we have is that in March Madness you have 16 games on Thursday, 16 on Friday, 8 and 8 on Saturday and Sunday. You have 48 games over 4 days from all day. You got 80 to 96. Games in the same time frame. 3 in a little extended fourth. So when you're running a rate for people who, for younger people who weren't around in the early 80s, early to mid 80s, when ESPN controlled the first couple of rounds of the tournament, and they were doing this, and they were bouncing from game to game to catch, the last 5 minutes of it, and just, it was like, how do you not watch this? So that squeeze play type of thing that they have there, you've got more games. And you can it creeps toward that person where you can say, all right, they were down 6, but they got 2 runs in and 2 on now, so let's kind of make sure we pay a little attention to them. And sometimes they can't keep up with it, whatever. The hosts are really good. They do a good job. But just stick to what you have. But it's all to make it now. You have the upsets that March Madness used to have. And until, and I guess the only thing is follow the money. There's just more money at stake. So the really talented basketball players and even mediocre players in college basketball are kind of holding out for the bigger offer.
And even after those first 3 days, I love yesterday. I mean, the first day of the regionals is great. Everybody's playing. But you get a lot of mismatches, a lot of 1 versus 4. But yesterday, you've got all of these do-or-die games. And the better of the games were earlier yesterday rather than later.
The lopsided games were the underdogs winning.
That's right. So, yesterday was a lot of fun. I was hoping I fell asleep on USC and Texas A&M. But those early games, West Virginia, Kentucky was fantastic. St. John's and Florida State was really good. Oklahoma State and Georgia Tech was great. And then, you had Troy blow Florida out. We could turn that one off.
20 years ago, LSU was going, 80% of the years to Omaha?
Yeah.
Like Florida State was going.
Oh, Martin made, I think, 23.
Stanford. Whether it's Texas
Miami.
Miami. It's just harder, man.
We're going to see 8 new uniforms up there. All 8
before
from
the
last
Super.
Right.
Before the first pitch of the Super.
That's right. you think it's any of these teams that make Omaha for the first time, they're going to bring a nice contingent of people that want to go see what it's all about, that they can finally follow their team. I probably should have had this stat. How many of these teams would be making Omaha for the first time? Cal Poly for sure.
West Virginia for
Little
sure.
Rock, West Virginia, Troy.
Yes, he's been there a few times.
Yes, he has been a few times.
St. John's has never been.
St. John's has never been. I don't think Kansas has ever been.
Yeah, they have.
They have.
Yeah, they were in '93. They were the 8th seed.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Long Beach beat Kansas in the elimination game. It was kind of a close game.
So you got what did we just name? 5 or 6 that haven't been before.
Yeah,
that would be that'd be great for college baseball. It's going to be a fun series. First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. 90 years in business. If you've been doing something for 90 years, well, you're doing a lot of things right. And at Supreme Rice, handcraft, or they crafted their product for so many years down in southwest Louisiana with Louisiana farmers. All of their rice grown, milled, and processed here in southwest Louisiana. Part of the Climate Smart program. They're taking care of their Louisiana farmers with methane emissions reductions, with water conservation. And, of course, it's a delicious product. You're going to get more for your money. The brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, the parboiled rice, the low glycemic rice. For those of you that are diabetic, it's a perfect complement to any meal. And, of course, when we get to tailgating in the fall, Supreme Rice makes for great jambalayas when it gets cold, a little gumbo, a little etouffee. You make it with Supreme Rice. And sometimes you get invited over to Jimmy's house on Monday for white beans or red beans with Supreme Rice. You'll get the parboiled rice if you go over there, I promise you. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Take a break here live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Today's show also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, helping you map out your retirement as well as being a full-service financial planner. They've done such a good job for our family. The peace of mind, the questions that you certainly don't want to wait until you're getting ready to retire to answer, like how much will I need to retire? When are you looking to retire? All of those questions that can be answered. Consultation, go to coastalcapitaladv.com. Set up an appointment with Phil Fontenot, somebody on his staff. They'll be able to help you out. Again, it's the peace of mind knowing that you are planning properly. I say, well, I'm putting some money aside for retirement. Make sure it's working for you in the best possible manner, that the timelines all align for you. Again, go to coastalcapitaladv.com. Member FINRA, SIPC. Yesterday, the hearing for Brendan Sorsby took place in Lubbock, Texas. The original judge, who was a double Texas Tech graduate, recused himself in favor of a retired judge that came back in to hear this case yesterday. They want a decision by June the 15th, but they're expected to get it sooner than that, maybe by the end of this week, certainly the first part of next week. Sorsby's attorney argued in the hearing that the NCAA ignored their own rules by not considering Sorsby's well-being in its decision, describing his gambling history as a mental health and addiction issue that the NCAA is required to support and not punish. Jimmy, if that's their argument, they have no argument. I'm sorry. I can't.
This thing's over.
You can't make this any more. There's a second part of the story that I want to get to, but I just want to go back to the first part first.
You're trying to bring it to case. You hope they gotta have something. I mean, it's as good as any. What would be your argument? Because it would test my creative skills. You have none. I mean, this is not new with play. Pay players and stuff like that. You can't bet on freaking college football.
I have no
sports,
argument.
Period.
I have no argument for him. The best I could have come up with before we knew what was that it was insignificant amounts, and even that's flimsy. Even if you're just betting a little bit, you've been told time and time again not to. So if he had placed a series of $20 bets or $10 bets on NBA games or Major League Baseball games, maybe you could have gone. But even that, you've been told and retold. What the second part of the story that I want to get your opinion of is they asked the Browns coach yesterday, Todd Monken, when they were talking about the Myles Garrett trade and everything, if he would consider, the Browns need a quarterback, in a supplemental draft, which would be next month if they do it, to draft Brendan Sorsby.
I think it'll carry 7.
Well,
I mean,
they can cut some of those guys, but
they will.
Believe me, if they could possibly get Deshaun Watson out of the building for anything less than $80 million or whatever it is they owe him, they would do it, but that's not available to him right now. Monken called it a slippery slope, which I thought was interesting from an NFL coach. Here's a quarterback that, under optimum circumstances, if you didn't have this gambling thing hanging over his head, I can't guarantee he would have been a first-round pick, but I think he would have been at least a second-day pick.
I think if he had a full season, another season starting, Charlie, I think he had a real chance.
He did have a chance.
Because he's
no guarantee, but a chance.
He's got some skills. He can move. He's got a good live arm. His accuracy really did improve, this season. He went through a stretch where his touchdown to interception ratio. Well, he protected the ball and still made plays. It's at Cincinnati, but still they were in a Big 12, so it's a bit more than what Cincinnati had been facing, 3 years ago. No, he had a chance. He had a chance. I was listening to his coach talk about, this is right after the season. He said he's got options. Whether he goes pro, we hear maybe a second-round pick, something like that. Whether he's going to get look, we can only offer so much as far as our player budget is not what some of the big boys did. He's got options, whatever he wants to do. If he wants to roll back, certainly we want him back. But that's the thing that hurts him worse. He's not going to be able to play, which, man, it's hard to get a lot of NFL scouts and front office people to agree upon. It's pretty common knowledge or common opinion now that the more you play as a quarterback, the better it's going to prepare you for the league.
So I don't disagree with any of that.
So we're saying he's out, what he's going to be, I don't know, third round? Over-under, maybe?
When I hear the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, who are as quarterback-starved as any franchise has ever been, and I know they got a bunch of high-dollar and, in some case, high-profile quarterbacks in that building right now, but none of them can play. At least not at a high level right now. Maybe Deshaun Watson has a resurgence, but the last time I saw him, he couldn't play.
No, he's not expected to get better with age.
I don't know that Dylan Gabriel or Shadur Sanders is ever going to be a full-time starting quarterback.
I think they got to see some of those guys. Like Shadur, I think they would need to see him fail more.
No, they're going to give him another shot. But you can get this kid at a discount, because whatever he ends up going in his supplemental draft, or maybe he doesn't go at all and somebody can sign him as a free agent, you're getting him at less value from a football standpoint than he would have cost you if he'd have played. So the real question is, are you willing to put up with the gambling cloud that's hanging over his head?
The gambling cloud is a knock as well.
And that's what
that's going to eliminate some suitors.
Including the quarterback-star Browns.
I think you got the bad example with the Browns using their quote.
Well, because they were talking about it yesterday.
What did they do yesterday?
They had a big trade.
Are they not kind of – is it quarterback heavy this year? Are they not one of the top candidates to have a bad season again and then get a favorable draft position for a quarterback heavy draft?
Manning,
well, not just him. Just good. You got four or five of them that could be really good.
Sure. Yeah. Just whoever you've got at the top of the draft that you like the best.
Who is more of a candidate than them? The Cardinals?
The Cardinals are right there with them.
Okay, so they're one of the top five. I just think, give me some teams outside of them.
And
their opinion.
And, of course, we don't have that right now, but I'm wondering how many – that's kind of where I was going with this is how many opinions are like that? Like, dude, we ain't fooling with this. Let me read you the rest.
It's another question mark, and the more question marks you have, you already question mark about his ability.
Yeah,
he's not going to be able to play, and then you throw that in there, man. He's a scratch for at least a third of the teams.
In terms of the situation he's put himself in, we all know what that is. He put himself in that situation. We've seen in other sports where players have been banned for life for playing in professional sports. From my end of it, I'm quoting Monken again here, that's a tough angle to go down that road if he's ever going to be eligible to even play in the NFL. That's the other thing. He's going to be suspended. Right before he ever plays a game, he'll end up with a suspension out of the
NFL.
Out of the NFL, yeah, that's sort of the they agree to punish on the other end. I don't know that this guy's going to get another shot.
It's funny you bring up the Browns because it does remind me of a situation. I think it might be, this supplemental process might be just like draft night for Shedeur or draft nights, days, draft weekend for Shedeur. At some point, yes, okay, he's worth a swing.
And
even a team that drafted another quarterback in sort of after the first couple of days. It was third or fourth. We'll still at least. When we get to now, okay, at least he's worth a swing, and that I think that's what you might when he gets to fourth or fifth round through supplemental. It's like, okay, let's just take a shot, But no, first two rounds, I don't see anybody. He blew it, man. He blew it. Man.
You broke the unbreakable rule. The one that they won't forget. If he had failed a drug test, they'd bring him in.
We have seen some much worse humane things. Okay,
if he had a domestic problem,
way worse.
You see that all the time.
But this is taboo. You cannot participate and gamble on sports. You can't do it, man.
And I can't.
And it's more mainstream, and maybe there's going to be a spot where there's going to be a softening of the stance. Okay, to maybe a point where did you gamble on your own sport? Oh, then that's.
Well, for 10 minutes they actually allowed it, until the SEC and other schools, other leagues went up and said, wait a minute. Remember that? That was last year? They said, no, we're going to let them bet on professional sports if they're college athletes. No, you're not. No, they backtracked from that in a hurry. I would imagine that this will come down sometime in the next week, and he's going to be ineligible. Two things to wrap up. First of all, how close was LSU to being in this mess? Because they certainly wanted him. And the second thing is,
LSU that's you want to talk about some things have to break your way.
Yeah,
that's the first biggest break you got.
Correct.
Oh yes, they wanted him.
They absolutely.
Yes, they got outbid.
Yes, and the second thing is, you told me last week or the week before they're going to be favored in every game this season, even with him declared ineligible.
Substantial favorites,
unless they get that thing scheduled with Texas.
Not happening this year. No, their non-conference schedule's a joke.
They actually both call the schools that they're playing, Texas Tech and Texas, in the first week, and said, "Hey, look, they'll play each other. We can play." And I love. They said, "We can play in Lubbock." Oh, you want to play in Lubbock now?
Well, they get to play in Oklahoma City with the softball.
Play in Dallas. Yeah, Texas and Texas Tech. Yeah, both of them won 2 games yesterday to get to the finals.
I'm trying to get to their schedule, but
one of them plays Abilene Christian, the other one plays somebody else.
No, they play Abilene Christian, but their non-conference road. Let's see, here it is. The road games: Colorado, not good. Cincinnati, not really good. Baylor, no. Oklahoma State, they'll be better, but no. That's the road games.
Your league is not good.
Yeah, they're going to be probably at least touchdown favorites in every game without their starting quarterback.
Even the backup is questionable for week 1, right? He's missing all kind of time.
They'll speed up his rehab. No, they will. They can do different. I mean, he might not respond to it.
Yeah,
he might not be ready. But I got my belief that he's going to be ready.
Tough having your quarterback limited in August, huh? Not being able to get that practice time and get ramped up with the team.
He played last year.
Okay.
Played last year. He has real playing experience, and he played well.
Yeah, so he's not a freshman they're taking out.
No,
I got it.
No. But they will probably pick up another quarterback. They have to,
Where at this time of the year? Where do you go find a quarterback now?
Are you kidding me?
For Texas Tech,
Texas Tech has more money than God. They'll go. Somebody will break your contract. They'll go get him.
Okay.
Didn't Mensa? He was signed, sealed and delivered, right?
Yeah, but
got him.
That was in February, though.
Okay. Well, money talks.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm just saying,
where do you go get a quarterback in June?
I'm talking about a projected top 3 round pick.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm talking about you can go get somebody's backup to be your starter.
No, you're right. LSU brought in a quarterback last week. You're right. They brought in T. Martin's son. So yes, you can go get a quarterback somewhere. You're right.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great long-standing staff going to execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose our friends and our longtime supporters here on the show at Legacy Title. 296-0060.
Live at Mike Anderson's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's talk to Henry Hayes, talking some NBA Finals. It's got a lot of juice, but are we going to have a competitive series? Henry, what's up, buddy?
Man, this is great to talk about. For me, there's so many intriguing matchups that are going to define this series.
Hey, let me before we get to, let's recap Saturday night. Was that a surprise?
Mildly, I didn't expect San Antonio to dominate like they did.
I agree.
We've always said you got to take the crown off the King's head, and that's hard to do, especially in closing quarters. But you give San Antonio credit; they had a game plan. They went directly at them, and they executed. And that game wasn't close. And so I was a little surprised at the level to which they beat them. But look, that's the sixth win, I think, again. No, is it 7 maybe? They got them 3 times in the regular season and 4 in the playoffs. So it's a pretty confident Spurs group. Now on the road, it's harder to do, but the no-show of Cat Holmgren also was a surprise.
The supporting cast too. If we get off the 2 superstars, I know they're completely different positions and different impacts, but Wemby and SGA, and part of SGA's thing is that he facilitates and he's going to find and he reads defenses and figures things out and creates easier opportunities for the deep bench that they have, the deep roster that they have. But man, the Spurs, including like De'Aaron Fox, compare the Game 5 to Game 7 for De'Aaron Fox. He was so much better, but it seemed like the 2 through the 8 players, which one didn't play better for the Spurs?
They came to play, and it's funny with De'Aaron Fox, Jimmy. He's one of those guys that you feel like he's way older than he really is. And he was hurt, but we also forget that's arguably the fastest guy in the league with the ball in his hand.
Who was that?
De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, still okay.
Oh, absolutely. And he gets the places on the floor that you don't need to run a screen for him, you don't need to run action for him, and that is a major problem for defenses. He wasn't healthy in a lot of the series, but boy, when he came back to play, and then if he's making his threes, they're almost impossible to guard because now you have driving lanes for all the perimeter players and Wemby, and so that makes it very, very difficult, obviously.
Yeah. I knew I'll still go back to that Sweet 16 game, when the only year that Fox and Lonzo Ball played. And UCLA was favored, and he abused him. I know it's easy to say now who's got the better fit, but still at that time, it was a no contest.
That was before Lonzo Ball had all that litany of injuries that he's had.
That was
back when he was at the athletic peak.
It was how much quicker Fox was and how easy he was able to get by him, and it was a little bit it was eye opening to say the least. He's just and I'll bring up another thing, and I brought this up with Andy earlier today in the show, and I'm listening to the New York show yesterday, and I talked about, we thought that the Thunder was going to be a tougher matchup for the Knicks, but looking at the Thunder without Williams and without another key player, and now looking at the Spurs getting healthier, I'm not so sure. Your thoughts on that?
Well, look, those 2 guys make a big difference. And we would be naive to say, with those 2 in the lineup, what happens? I'm not sure. Well, I mean, obviously that's a lot of production you're missing, and all of it fell on SGA, and you compound that by the fact that I guess it looks like Chet Holmgren is just a terrible matchup in terms of the Thunder's favor, for the Spurs. So it's hard to say, but look, that's behind us, and the problem the league has is this Spurs team is really young, and to get to the finals and have a pretty good chance to win it at this kind of maturation level, we just haven't seen that. That's unheard of.
I think Wemby's just going to get stronger too. The thing you always wonder is with big guys, they break down. I mean, their body's not built to go back and forth as much. Their minutes approach was pretty good, 29 to 30 minutes. It was pretty tight too. Watch how many games he played outside of 29 to 30 minutes during the regular season. It ain't much. And he was still able to impact the game in a great deal. So they lost a couple of games because maybe he wasn't in there maybe as much as he would be. Like he played that game one. He played, 49 minutes or whatever it was of the 58. But that approach seems like it's just the right amount, to try and to be precautionary and try and guard him from injury. You mentioned Holmgren, but Henry, I saw Game 5. I say the same guy. He took it at Wemby. He took it. He was very aggressive. He let it know early. Well, what's the difference between Game 5 and Game 7?
He just got the yips, man. It looks like in athletics, sometimes guys just get the yips. I remember Steve Sachs, my second baseman on my Dodgers, couldn't make the throw to first base, and he retired. He couldn't do it.
What? He's not going to have the opportunity to erase that image then. There's not going to be a bigger game. I mean, when's you're going to get to the finals in Game 7?
No, he's still young in his career. I think he's going to be fine. He's just something he's got to get over, and he's got to find a way to work around it. But I want to go back to Wemby for a second, Jimmy. And this is unusual because you're talking about a player who really you could stake the rest of his career and that team's success on one play. Ball handler and Wemby, high pick and roll at the top of the key, and you have two shooters on the left and the right. Nobody rolls to the basket after setting that screen like Wemby. And that play, once it's in motion, think about the options you have. You have Wemby on a lob, which no one can stop. You have a ball handler getting freed up, and then you have snipers on the wings that can hurt you from three, and you can know that play's coming, but they still can't stop it. So his high ball screen roll will define the next 12 to 15 years of his career because they make you make a choice. That's what I think they're going to do to the Knicks. But it's a really interesting one play can define that guy.
Charlie, you wanted to say something about Chet?
Just kind of what we were talking about a little bit yesterday is that he had a really good year overall. He was third team All-NBA. So we're talking about a guy who, at least statistically, had one of the best 20 or so. Was he really
a top 5 player? Was he one of the better players on the best record team?
They put him on the third team, so he's somewhere between 15 and 20, okay? I guess between really 11 and 20. But there's a lot of good in him, okay? There's a lot of stuff you can work with. If the worst thing we can say about Chet Holmgren is he got worked by the most precocious talent in the world right now, there's a lot I can save with him. If he's just going to get dominated by Wembanyama, that's a problem for Oklahoma City if they want to win a championship. But I'm not going to just say, hey, look, man, I got to define him because he's no good against Wembanyama.
A little bit of history. I saw him in a single elimination tournament in the Sweet 16 and got stoned. But neutralized, basically, by his teammate, Jalen Williams, by Arkansas. He had 11 points. 11 points for Gonzaga when they lost to Arkansas. They were the 1 seed, and Arkansas was the 4. Just kind of like, man, dude, it's going to be a lot for me to recover. You can do whatever you want with the regular season. Come on, this team's. You just said it, Henry, right? The Thunder's not going anywhere, are they? The Spurs aren't going anywhere. Isn't these collision courses, aren't we going to see this? Isn't this anticipated to see in the postseason again?
You say that, but as recently as a month ago, we were all chips in the middle on OKC. It was like OKC versus the field. And look at them now. So now, injuries, yes, but my point is things can change pretty quickly. Look, Holmgren turned 24 on May 1st. So let's not beat him up just yet. And Charlie's right. The NBA has a Wemby problem. So it's not like somebody has a Wemby stopper on their team. So, OKC could join the rest of the club.
I mean, my memory fails me. I thought he was in the game to start the game in Game 5 when he was aggressive. I mean, dude.
Well, he can play better. I mean, nobody's arguing that.
But you didn't attempt a shot the last 3 quarters of the game.
It was bad.
You didn't attempt a shot.
It was bad.
The last attempt.
It was bad. So what are you going to do? You going to trade him?
I mean, he might not be. He is there something with the Wemby where he's backing down a little bit more often than not?
Well, he did the other day. He's also not going to be asked to be the best player on that team as long as SGA is there, which is something else you got to think about. He's not being asked to lead them. He's being asked to be the second or third best player on that team.
It's going to be a lot to get that out of my
No, you made up your mind. I know. Something tells me I'm going to be defending Chet Holmgren like I defended Jalen Hurts for years.
And he might knock down 28 in a regular season game against Wemby. Or like the NBA fan when they had Wemby pay like 16 minutes in the NBA Cup final, whatever, one of those.
Henry, Holmgren's going to win the MVP of the finals one year, and I'm still going to be defending him over this Game 7 thing. So Hurts won the MVP of the Super Bowl. Jimmy, I got jailed on the field.
He sucks too.
Right.
Oh, okay. And I don't care if he won the Super Bowl MVP. That guy sucks. He's awful. All right, Nick's got a shot, Henry.
Sure. I mean, look, you don't put up the numbers they have and not have something going, right? I mean, that team's playing well together. That building's going to be just on fire. But they've got some issues. Primarily, Jimmy, I think they got to hide Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on defense. And I think the San Antonio staff knows this, and they're going to try to split them. Look, it's one thing to run up against Cleveland and the Magic. It's another thing to run up against Champagny, Vassell, Fox, Kelvin Johnson, Dylan Harper, and Castle. These guys are much bigger and stronger than Jalen Brunson. And so that's a different kettle of fish. And they're going to make Brunson guard. And look, you can't put Towns on Wemby. So who does he get? Castle? So and look, Karl Anthony Towns is not the best at deciding when and when not to foul. So they're going to need Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart to really play well. I mean, Charlie, I wish I was Josh Hart's agent because guess what? He's going to get as many looks as he wants in this series. And if he knocks him down like Caruso, then good, he'll get paid. But that's going to be, I think, guys, the Spurs' strategy is really gum up the paint, reduce Jalen Brunson's driving lanes and his traffic and his space, and give Josh Hart all the open looks he wants and beg him to make them. That's what I think we're going to see.
I know we beat up the Cleveland coach, but, I mean, he had the right approach in Game 2. I mean, let make Josh Hart beat me. I'm sorry. I mean, you just make him beat me. It just didn't work out. The non-day layoff, real quickly, Henry, the last time we saw it, you're going to see the same type of 40-minute struggle that we saw in Game 1 for the Knicks in Cleveland after a non-day layoff?
I don't think so, Jimmy. I think this team's locked in. They know that they've got to split in San Antonio and get that thing back to the Garden. I don't think so. I think you got to give Mark Brown credit and his staff. This group is, there's 5 straight wins on the road in the playoffs, double digits. So the way they dispatched Cleveland, and look, that game was over in the first 2 minutes, that Game 4. So this team is veteran. They know what they want to do. They understand they have not been, this is their first final since 1999. I don't expect that risk. So I think they'll come out firing. But again, they got some issues, so we'll see. It's going to be a great game tomorrow night, I think.
Picking Game 1 and for the series.
Give me the Spurs. I think having the game at home, and I like the Spurs. Actually, I got to go disagree. I like the Spurs to win it in New York. So give me the Spurs in Game 6.
I like the same thing. In Game 1?
Yeah, Spurs in Game 1.
Spurs in Game 1. Minus the points. Minus 4.5.
And then, look, if you want parlay, Jimmy, if you think the Spurs are winning in 6, you might as well throw Victor Wembanyama to be the series MVP.
Oh, well, you're getting a shorter price on Wemby being the MVP than the Spurs winning.
Careful, Center was supposed to win the French, too. Careful those throws.
Oh, don't get me started. I mean, you can only be up 5-1 in the third, up 2 sets. Thank you, Henry.
Okay, guys.
By the way, Hodar, the new Spaniard, 19-year-old Spaniard on clay, He was up 5-2 in the first set on Zverev. Okay, Zverev won the next 20 out of 23 games. So he's going to be just fine moving forward. He couldn't do it. He had three rough finals, but he was in a spot down a break, and he won like 11 straight points, and he won like 20 out of 23 games. He really responded to the young kid, kind of put him in his place. He's going to be fantastic. Hodar. He is really, really going to be good. He's got a mature, professional demeanor, but Zverev's like, bro, I can't get this done now. I ain't never getting it done.
Back to wrap it up here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Texas A&M has parted ways with pitching coach Jason Kelly. You might remember that name from his year at LSU. He was on
Is it indoor soccer facility?
No, different Jason Kelly. He was on Jay Johnson's first staff here in 22.
Okay.
Then he was a head coach at Washington for 2 years. He's been at A&M the last 2 seasons, and as we talked about, I don't know if it's his fault or not. Obviously, they're gonna move on from him, but that A&M pitching staff never came around, even into the regional. Their offense let them down the last 2 games, but that pitching staff just never came around.
Peterson, going down this year. Didn't their starter, their Sadeo, struggle more this year than last year?
Yes,
yeah,
very much so.
When you do that, you say, "Why? What's happening with our development?"
Yeah, and I don't know whose fault that is.
Well, I know who gets blamed for it.
I know who got fired today.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Probably a whole lot more as assistant coaches and others start to move around today as we get down to the super regional round. Here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley at Nicholson. Jimmy, we came in here for dinner the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Just a really nice seafood experience. Mike Anderson's has been here for 50 years, and there's a reason for that because they put a high-quality product out, great service. If you hear when Shane's working the bar, that's just worth just walking in to watch him perform.
It's good to see Mr. Mike coming in today as well.
Yes, it is. Very good to see him.
So, man, looks great, man. Looks really good.
Thanks to our friends here at Mike Anderson's, our hosts on every other Tuesday. We will be at Snow Seafood and Steak tomorrow in Gonzales. Randy McKay will be with us, Scott Rabelais, Wes Reynolds from VEASAN. We'll have our consensus golf picks for the week. All of that tomorrow on the show at 11 o'clock. For Jimmy and Jordan, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.